Ever felt the presence of something unexplainable? Stay tuned to uncover chilling tales from others who have. The factory loomed before me, a hulking shadow against the twilight sky. Its skeletal frame jutted into the air like some forgotten beast, the shattered windows staring blankly, lifeless. I had driven miles to get here, to this place whispered about in forums and late-night conversations. The Harland Textile mill had been shut down for decades, its machines silent, its workforce long gone. But its reputation had only grown, not for its industrial legacy, but for the echoes of something far darker. I stepped inside cautiously, the crunch of shattered glass under my boots the only sound. The air was cold and stale, heavy with the scent of mildew and rust. Graffiti sprawled across the walls, mingling with ancient grime, but even the most daring taggers seemed to avoid certain areas, corners left untouched, as if the walls themselves rejected intrusion. The silence was profound, broken only by the occasional groan of the building settling into decay. The stories of Harland had drawn me here. In its prime, it was a bustling hub, employing hundreds. But the accident had changed everything. A boiler explosion in the heart of production had claimed dozens of lives. Survivors spoke of screams that lasted far longer than they should have, of figures that shouldn't have been there when the flames were extinguished. And even after the rebuilding, workers complained of strange phenomena, machines turning on by themselves, cold spots that seemed to breathe against your skin, whispers that came from nowhere. The mill shut down soon after. The company blamed the economy, but locals knew better. As I moved deeper into the factory, my flashlight flickered, casting dancing shadows on the cracked walls. I had brought a recorder and an EMF reader, amateur gear for what felt like a foolish expedition. Yet, something gnawed at me. Curiosity, yes, but also a pull I couldn't quite explain. It was as if the factory itself wanted me there. The first sign came in the old loom room. I caught movement out of the corner of my eye, a fleeting figure darting between the machines. My breath caught, and I swung my flashlight wildly. "Hello." My voice echoed, swallowed almost immediately by the oppressive silence. There was no answer, but the EMF reader in my hand spiked, its lights flaring red. A chill coursed down my spine. The figure appeared again, just briefly, at the far end of the room. It wasn't human, I was sure of that. Its form was elongated, distorted, as if stretched too thin. The head lolled unnaturally, and the arms hung at impossible angles, fingers scraping the floor as it moved. It didn't walk so much as glide, its feet never seeming to touch the ground. And its eyes, if you could call them that, were black pits that seemed to pull in the light around them. I froze, heart pounding in my chest. It turned its head towards me, slowly, deliberately, and the air seemed to thicken. My flashlight dimmed, the beam struggling against the encroaching darkness. Then, without warning, the thing let out a low, resonant groan, a sound that seemed to vibrate through my very bones. I stumbled back, tripping over debris, the EMF reader clattering to the ground. I don't know how long I lay there, paralyzed by fear. When I finally forced myself up, the figure was gone, but the room had changed. The machines, long dormant, were moving. Looms clattered, spindles whirred, and the air was filled with the choking scent of burning fabric. Yet there was no fire, no heat, just smoke that billowed from unseen flames. Panic set in, and I fled the room, heart hammering. I tried to rationalize it, hallucinations, maybe the air was tainted with something. But deep down, I knew better. Something in Harland was alive, or rather, something had never left. The next encounter was worse. I stumbled into what I later realized was the break room. Old chairs lay overturned, a vending machine shattered, its contents spilled and long decayed. I caught my breath, trying to calm myself, when I heard it, a rhythmic tapping. It came from the ceiling at first, then the walls, then the floor, closing in like a drumbeat. My flashlight revealed nothing, but the sound grew louder, more frantic. And then it came. A figure crawled out of the shadows, pulling itself towards me with jerky, spider-like movements. Its skin was pale, almost translucent, stretched tight over its frame. Its mouth was an open wound, impossibly wide, filled with jagged teeth that chattered as it moved. A sound like a wet rasping filled the room, and I realized it was laughing, high-pitched and broken, a sound of madness. It lunged, and I bolted, my screams swallowed by the factory's walls. The hallways twisted, unfamiliar and wrong, as if the building itself conspired to keep me there. Shadows moved in the periphery of my vision, shapes that flickered and disappeared when I turned my head. The whispers began then, soft at first but growing louder, overlapping until they were a deafening cacophony. "Leave! Stay! Help us! Join us!" I don't know how I made it out. My legs carried me on instinct, my mind too fractured to process anything but raw terror. When I burst into the open air, gasping and trembling, the factory loomed behind me, silent once more. The whispers had stopped, the shadows gone, but I could still feel it, the weight of unseen eyes watching me, the cold that had seeped into my bones. Even now, I can't explain what I saw. Rationality tells me it was stress, the power of suggestion, tricks of the mind. But every time I close my eyes, I see them, the stretched figure, the chattering mouth, the glint of malevolence in those black, endless pits. I can still hear the whispers, faint but persistent, as if they followed me home. And in the dead of night, when the world is silent, I swear I can hear the machines of Harland whirring to life once more.
If this chilling tale gave you goosebumps, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories like this. Thank you for tuning in to Ghostly Echoes. Until next time.